Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I wanted to share this new tea recipe I came up with, or herbal infusion as it is more appropriately called. I just came up with it last night and I'm absolutely adoring the flavor. I'm always experimenting, throwing different herbs together. And what happened yesterday, I was dehydrating some peppermint and some thyme. And as I was stripping the dried leaves off the stems, a lot of the stems hadn't fully dried. So I took those and threw them into my teapot and then added some more stuff to it. So I wanted to go ahead and share this recipe with you because I was very happy with how it turned out. So today I'm going to be using fresh herbs. Now when I have fresh herbs coming in, those are what I use to make my herbal infusions through the season. And then I take the excess and dry them up to use for my herbal infusions / herbal teas throughout the rest of the year. And so what I have here are some dandelion flowers, some thyme, and some peppermint, all fresh picked today. So I want to share with you the ratios and then how I do this. Now to be honest, I never measure anything out, but today I thought I would go ahead and weigh this out a little bit just to give you an idea of how much I'm using. This will probably be a little bit different than last night's tea, but I have a rough idea of how much I used of each. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, I know with my dandelion flowers, I used about 5 or 6 of them, and that made a really nice flavor. The dandelion flowers added just a light sweetness to it. I don't usually like a sweet, when I'm drinking a hot, whether it be coffee or tea, I prefer them to not be sweet. But the kind of sweetness the dandelion flower added was so subtle, but it gave it just a beautiful flavor. I just loved it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6. So I'll go ahead and put 7 into this batch. And so I'm just going to toss it directly into my teapot there. Now, when it comes to peppermint, I like to put a lot in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my little colander on there and then calibrate this and then throw this, my peppermint in there. So we got 1.6 ounces there. And I'm thinking maybe 1.5 ounces would probably be plenty. I'm going to leave a little bit of this out because I did cut a lot when I went out there. And I'm just going to push all that into my pot there. You can see a much smaller amount of thyme. And so when I'm making herbal infusions like this, I just leave the stems. I don't worry about taking off the stems. Now, if I'm drying the herbs up to use for cooking, baking, things like that, where I want to add thyme as a flavoring, I do dry them like this and then strip the leaves off the stems and toss the stems because they're a little bit too woody for throwing into your sauces. But for making an herbal infusion, they're just fine. So let's put those on there and see how much those come to. So that's 0.18. So just about 1/5 of an ounce. Okay, so we're just going to shove all that in there, and there's what it looks like in the pot. Okay, then I just take my water, and I like to use, we collect our own rainwater and then filter it out. Whatever good, healthy well water, spring water, whatever it is you have. Tap water is okay if you can filter out the fluoride and the chlorine. And I'm a little short, so I got to go get another jug. There we go. Now I'm going to top all this off. I've never figured out how much this teapot holds, so I should probably figure that out. And then I'll put that in the right here so you know how much I'm making all together and how these will fit in. I always like to make whole pots because I will drink this. Patrick and I will drink this in the evening. Then the next day I'll drink the tea up, usually in the afternoon, as a cold tea. Now I'm not going to be brewing this tea right away. We'll probably be building a fire later tonight because the time that I'm shooting this video is the April 29th, so we're still getting kind of cooler nights and we like to build the fire. So I'll probably be brewing my tea on the wood stove tonight. And so what I do is I set it up on a trivet. Now if you're going to use a hot plate like I have behind me or your conventional stove top, set your heat on the lowest temperature and then let the tea get hot. Let the water get hot. I usually like to let it sit and kind of not really simmer because it's not boiling or anything. Just sit on the heat for at least 5 to 10 minutes because I like to get a good strong flavor in there. You just don't want to overcook your herbs. It's going to change the flavor, and then 2, it can destroy some of the nutrients and the healthy benefits that there are in these herbs. But if you want to, you can just bring it up to where it's nice and hot and then remove it from the heat and then just let it sit and steep. Again, I do like to leave mine on the heat source for 5 to 10 minutes at least, sometimes 15. But again, if I'm doing it on the wood stove, I'll set it on a trivet so it's not getting too hot. And then again, on a conventional or hot plate, just a very low heat. And so what I'm going to do right here is I'll put a clip, since this is going to be later than I'm going to actually cook this up, or I'll go ahead and put a clip of me pouring the tea so you can see how it looks in the evening when it's fresh from the pot. And I tell you, the flavor is just wonderful. Now, all these herbs are going to have some benefits. Peppermint is really good for digestion. Some people find it to be more of an energizing kind of herb, but for me it's very soothing, especially to the digestive system. And I just really enjoy peppermint, and the stronger the flavor, the better. And then dandelion flowers are very nourishing and also soothing to your system and have so many other benefits. Thyme and peppermint both are good antivirals. And what I'm going to do is I do have a video on dandelion, the leaves, the flowers, and the roots, and their benefits. And I will link to that down below, and the video I did last year on the thyme and its many benefits. I don't have one out on peppermint yet. Hopefully I'll get to that this year. I recommend you check those videos out because I try to do a few new herb profiles every season and get them out there so you can learn the benefits of each of the different herbs that you're growing. Whether they be herbs that you pick wild or just grow wild in your garden, like things like red clover, plantain, and even dandelion, or herbs that you might grow intentionally such as echinacea, catnip, valerian, and more. And though I'll be linking to the 2 videos, the dandelion and the thyme, I do also have a whole playlist with all of my different herb videos that I put together over the past several years. I'll go ahead and link down below so you can go through there and just kind of check out some of the different things I talk about. Now, here's an interesting thing I wanted to show you. This is the same tea after I let it sit overnight, and it was removed from the heat source and everything, but for some reason by today, just sitting in the teapot overnight, something about the combination of the different herbs turned it really dark, like black coffee, but it still tastes the same and it's really good. So I'm going to be drinking this and finishing that off because I'm really happy with the flavor. Okay, so there's my new herbal infusion / tea recipe that I'm really enjoying, full of all kinds of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and so on, that's so healthy for your body. So I recommend you give it a try if you already have these herbs growing, and if it's that time of the year that none of this stuff is growing because maybe you're watching this in the winter, go ahead and use your dried herb. Obviously the weight's going to be different because the dried herbs are going to be a lot lighter, but at least use about the same ratios as you can see me use with the mint, the thyme, and the dandelion. But then again, you can change it up however you want. You can add more thyme and less peppermint, add more dandelions or less, however you want to do it to suit your needs. But I recommend starting with the basic ratio I showed you here, just to get that mimic that same flavor I had, and then you can taste it. And then the next time you make it, if you decide you would rather have less peppermint and more thyme or whatever, then you can do that so you can suit it to your own taste. Oh yes, and I almost forgot to say, I also have a playlist of my various herbal tea recipes. I have at least a few out there, and this will go in there too, and I'll be adding more throughout the year. So I hope you're enjoying this series and that you'll give them a try. Just some ways that you can get more nutrients in your diet and get away from, things like, soda pops and even juice, even a good organic juice. You don't want to just drink a whole bunch of juice because it's full of calories and no fiber. It might still have a lot of the good vitamins and minerals in it if it's organic and raw, but you're just getting a lot of sugar without the fiber. So it's a good idea to not drink a whole lot of juice and try to switch yourself over to teas if you can do that. Or even just plain water is good for you too, especially if it's a good healthy filtered rainwater or spring water or well water. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.